Lots of people dream about retiring from the busy life in the US or Canada and moving to paradise. But it's hard to know the right places to go, especially if you're on any kind of fixed budget. So if you're looking at retiring one day to a place like the Dominican Republic, or maybe specifically in the Dominican Republic, and you want to do that for less than $3,000 a month, this, my friends, is your lucky day. Because I'm going to share with you 5 places you've never heard of here in DR where you can do just that for just that amount of money. And the 5th place, you need to trust me, anybody watching, the 5th place is going to be red hot in the next 5 to 7 years. But no one's talking about it. No one is talking about it. So let's dive in. I get a lot of questions from people that are going to be retiring soon about the best place to live, and they're seeing the expense and the cost going up in places that are more known, like Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, Santiago, Cabarete, and Sosua up on the North Shore. Those chapeadores, inflation. What are you gonna do? So I compiled a list of different places as alternatives to those ones that I just said, where you can still get access to all the amenities that you want, but also have access to private healthcare within a reasonable time frame, all of that for under $3K. Now, I will say this, way easier to do this for well under $3K if you have a couple of things that you do in advance. One is buy your property and pay for it. Make sure it's free and clear, and if it's under about $170,000, $180,000 in purchase price US, then you won't have any property taxes either. Maybe just an HOA fee. And 2, have a car that's free and clear as well. Not a deal breaker, you can actually get financing in country if you wanted to for a car, but if you've got enough time where you can prepare to own a car without having a payment on it, all the better. So with all of that, let's reveal my 5 spots that are alternatives to the big spots to retire and have a great life under $3K here in the Dominican Republic. Well, I'm in Michigan right now, which is why I've got this sort of sanitary backdrop without the palm trees, but I'll be back in DR in just a couple weeks. The first one is a town called Macao. This is an alternative to Punta Cana. It's not too far away from the area most know as Punta Cana, say 20, 30-minute drive depending on traffic, but it's still a very low-cost option without a ton of development yet. Now, it's coming. If you want to see it on a map, maybe we'll throw it up. Macao sits in between Punta Cana, which is highly developed and developing even more, and an area called Miches, which is really becoming a big hotspot right now in the country. Still a great retirement option, not discounting it, but if you're looking for something that gives you the Punta Cana access without too far a drive, where you're not gonna have too much expense, definitely Macao. Now there are some projects in Macao that are interesting. I'm not invested in them, but some agents I know, realtors I know, have told me that they have a lot of belief in them. If you want access to those realtors, down in the links below, just click on the realtor form and I'll make sure you get connected. But either way, Macao, however you look at it, whether you go with one of these realtors or you find something on your own, it's an area you should take a look at where lifestyle under $3K is very possible. And if you want dinner out or to go someplace like Cortacito where I'm buying, or a great restaurant like Castaways, one of my favorites in the entire country, you can make that trip and still be back up in Macao before the nightfall. So if you've been thinking, well, I'd love to retire in Punta Cana, it's just way too expensive, so I'm not gonna go. Nah, check out Macao. I think that's an option for you. All right, up on the other side of the country is another hot spot for a lot of people retiring, and that's the Cabarete, Sosua, Puerto Plata area, that northern Puerto Plata corridor. And they're great, they're awesome. But if you're saying, man, they're still a little bit pricey or they're a little more bustling than I really want right now, then just drive a little east and you'll come into a town that I've talked about 2 years ago as being a spot that might blow up, and it's starting to, but it's still affordable, and that's Rio San Juan. I went up there and I was able to check out all of what they have up there, and it's like, wow, this is a sleepy little town with a couple of incredible beaches in Playa Grande and Playa Precioso. Then a guy that's kind of heavy set, does a lot of music, named DJ Khaled came down, and he just sort of like put it on the map, it felt like, more than ever before. But the biggest investment yet is Alex Rodriguez and his group, who are bringing in collectively $1 billion to invest in projects in that area. Now, that's gonna come, that's gonna happen, that'll be built up right around Playa Grande. But it doesn't mean that it's not an option for you right now. And in fact, if you're able to buy in that market right now, my belief is that you'll be able to ride up the appreciation wave over time as these projects around it, like the A-Rod project, get developed. Again, Cabarete, Sosua, they're great options, but if you wanna get a little bit outside of that and wanna go someplace that's a little bit more affordable right now, that still hasn't quite cracked through but will, that's gonna be Rio San Juan. And boy, if you want access to the high life, right next door is Cabrera, which is a beautiful area. Mark Wahlberg owns a property there right now. But that little area there, I think, is a spot where you can find, especially if you bought a property, you paid it off, you have a car, you can find everything you want there, and you're not too far from places like Puerto Plata where you can get medical care and anything else that you might need. So if I called Rio San Juan as a potential spot 2 years ago and it's starting to come true, hey, Prognostication, baby. Wait till you hear my number 5 spot, because you've never talked about it, nor has anybody else, about a hot spot in the next few years. But before we get to 5, we gotta go to 3. There's a whole peninsula up in the northeastern part of the country that's called Samana. And it's got some incredible amenities up there. And I would venture to tell you that it has probably the best overall beaches in the entire country. There's 27 beaches in Samana. And one of the best, highly rated in all of the world is called Playa Bonita in Las Terrenas. But hey, just up the road in Las Galeras, you can do the 7 beaches tour. The little boat is a little terrifying, I'm not gonna lie, but the beaches are otherworldly and incredible. Wait till you see them. So Samana's a great option. The hub up there is Las Terrenas, and Las Terrenas is still growing. It's got a lot of runway, room. It's got space to get bigger and have more stuff. But it's already getting more and more expensive there because there's a lot of people that love to visit. It's becoming a little bit less hidden of a gem than it had been in the past. But there are 2 spots, and I chose this one, and I'll explain why over the other, but they're 1A and 1B as alternatives where you could still have a lifestyle under 3K in the Samana Peninsula and be not too far from Las Terrenas. The one I picked was El Valle. You can get a beautiful condo there for like under 200K. And you've got beach access, and still, again, you're not that far from Las Terrenas. The other part is you can take a ferry over to the Miches area from there, and then you're in a car, a rental car or whatever, down to Punta Cana for an hour, hour and a half from that point. So a lot of cool spots to go off of El Valle. And it's less sort of known right now than the alternative, the 1B, which is Las Galeras. Las Galeras is still a hidden gem. There's not a ton going on there. It's kind of peaceful and nice, and selfishly for me, I like that it is that way. Although for the locals, when we met them there, they were like, we need more tourism, we need more people moving here. While many people will tell you like, oh, these are hidden gems, leave them alone. That usually is because they, from their perspective, feel as though it's bad for the area, or maybe selfishly bad for them because they don't get this to be their own hidden gem anymore. But locals in these areas really want to see more folks coming in that are going to spend money, patronize, hire them, and do all of that stuff. That's just truth. That's my truth. That's what we've learned when we've talked to people locally going around to these different areas. But I don't think you can go wrong with either choice in the peninsula. If you can do Las Terrenas, great. But if you're looking more budget, a little slower, quieter, with access to Las Terrenas, El Valle and Las Galeras are kind of my combined number 3 on this whole list. And before I move on, I want to share something that's completely unrelated to retirement. In fact, it's the opposite. It's when you have a baby in the Dominican Republic. One of the subscribers to this channel, her name is Dr. Lorraine Reyes, is a Dominican physician and US trained midwife who can assist women with undisturbed home births and much, much more. She's an incredible subscriber to this channel. I wanted to support her, and she's now serving women in Punta Cana. So if you know of somebody that needs a midwife or somebody to help with the pregnancy, I'm gonna drop the link to her Calendly down below where you can schedule time with her, or you can simply email her right here at lorrainereyesmd@gmail.com if she's got services that you would like to partake in, or if you know somebody that is looking to connect with somebody like Dr. Lorraine Reyes. Doctora, thank you so much for your support of this channel, and I hope this helps you out in any way that it possibly can. All right, we're building to my 5th retirement spot, which I think is gonna be super hot in the next few years. But the next spot is really an alternative to Santiago, in my opinion, which is, beautiful, less expensive than maybe some areas, but still, there's a lot happening there and prices are going up. Take a look instead at Jarabacoa. If you've watched my channel, you know fully how big a fan I am of Jarabacoa. It is one of my favorite spots, if not my favorite non-beach spot in the entire country to go, to get away, to have fun. I've stayed at the domes in Jarabacoa. I've done so much there. It's such an amazing place. And while it's developing and becoming more and more known and aware, or whatever, known, all of that, it's still a spot that you can retire at a pretty decent price. And look, Santiago isn't far. You can get medical care there as needed. There's some insane restaurants there, including, if not 2, at least 1 restaurant with a Michelin star chef in it. It's called Hibiscus. The other one is called El Balcón. I don't know if he's Michelin star rated, but who really cares? Beautiful restaurant, amazing spot. And whenever I go shopping down there or go to different stores or whatever, it's still like ridiculously cheap compared to most places. Not the Michelin places, they'll cost you some money, don't get me wrong. But you can go to local restaurant shops, all of that for a really good price. Again, you have a paid off home and car in Jarabacoa. Now and in the near future, I see it as a very good option for a low cost lifestyle with incredible amenities. The downside, you're not as close to the beach, and maybe that's something that, hey, I'm gonna retire, I wanna be near a beach, but you're not too far away from them either. Within an hour or 2, you could be up in Cabarete or something like that and get your beach time. So Up to you, but Santiago is a great spot. If it's too pricey, check out Jarabacoa. I mean, at least when you wake up in the morning, you'll be blown away by the view. All right, my last spot I'm gonna share in just a moment. But before I do, there are some definite places. I've only listed 5. There are others that are incredible. You can get to an area like a Valle and it's still reasonably priced. Juan might be a good option compared to Santo Domingo, although I think the prices might be a little higher in that area with access to Santo Domingo. Who knows? Terrenas and Barahona have some areas that are just popping off. And again, I think that they are already sort of becoming hot. So therefore the prices might be going up, but you could still reasonably live there. They're just a little further off the beaten path, so they didn't make my top 5. And this last place, truthfully, is also off the beaten path, but still, I think it's got a little bit more access. And truthfully, it's just, nobody talks about it. So I thought it would be compelling content for all of you. So drum roll, please, for my 5th and final spot where you can retire hidden gems for under $3,000 a month in the Dominican Republic. It's Punta Russia. Monte Cristi is a city right up in the top, what is that? The top left northwest corner of the country, not too far from the Haiti border, and just a little bit this way from it. This is east, right? Yeah. There's this little beach town, Punta Russia, which if you're saying, oh, I've heard of Punta Russia, well, then you're in the minority because most people haven't or they don't even consider it. But this is an area that has incredible beaches, like incredible beaches. In the south, everybody hears the Valle de las Águilas. This is like the same beach on the north. Not to mention, you could take a quick boat ride over to a spot called Cayo Arena that will blow your mind. It's a little sandbar with these little huts on it or whatever, and it is true like Caribbean beauty. It's what you imagine going to the Caribbean or Caribbean. I don't know what the right way to say it is. But along the beach in Punta Russia, there's all these little like shops where you can get fried fish and food or whatever. To be honest with you, for me, right now, this would not be a place I would retire because I'm just too like, woohoo! And that place is really quiet. It's like if you're like, I can wake up, read a book, go to the same place every day and just be like quiet, then this is a spot for you. But here's the thing. When you go like around the country, right, and you look at all of the different spots that are popping up, I talked about Pedernales, Barahona. Santo Domingo, of course, is Santo Domingo. People already know about San Pedro and La Romana and Valle and Dominicus and going up into Punta Cana, all the way up through Macao, even though we mentioned it's still a growing area. Miches, right around into the Samana Peninsula. And then along the north coast, you've got Cabrera, Rio San Juan, Cabarete, Puerto Plata, Sosua, like all of that, right? There's only a certain amount of beach area in the country, and developers are gonna find all of it. The one area that's just not been talked about, and it will be, I believe, because somebody's gonna be like, hey, we got Cabrera and Rio San Juan popping off billion-dollar investments, like, who's doing something with this area up here is Punta Russia. You know, there is a part of me that says, it's untouched, it's nice, it'd be nice to keep it that way. But we've also met Airbnb hosts there and other people there that are like, we'd love to get more of that cabarete vibe here. We'd love to get that here. There's more business for us, more money for us. But that area will have its day. But right now, my God, probably lived there for under $1,000 a month, let alone $3,000. Now there was some land issues there. You got to remember in the Dominican Republic, the areas that are most developed, the Punta Canas, the Santo Domingos, the Santiagos, there's titling and all of that is being worked out or has been worked out. Punta Russia is one of those more complex areas to like, if you're gonna buy there, you gotta be really, really clear on who owns the deed to the land, what the history of it is and everything else. There's been some issues there in the past, but trust me, that'll get figured out. And if you're the type of person who says, I understand, and I'm one of these people, that the harder something is to acquire, the less people are going to, so therefore I'm in first and I get to reap more of the value on the upside, that's Punta Russia. If you can stick through it, if you can get through all the stuff, and if you can wait and watch that area develop, my opinion, that is an incredible retirement location for somebody looking to live on a budget and who somebody wants to live on an amazing beach for not a lot of money and in a very quiet, simple lifestyle. You are about 90 minutes from Cabarete and Puerto Plata to get to the closest hospitals or large private clinics. I'm sure there's a small clinic somewhere in the Punta Russia area or Monte Cristi, but that might be a bit of a drawback if healthcare is a concern. But that spot, my friends, there's your hidden gem of gems. I'll tell you this, my last trip to Punta Russia, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And I think I have a decent instinct just as a human being to say like, if this is what this is, why don't people know about this? Like, what's the issue? And I really believe right now it's just that it's so like remote that the rest of the country is getting all the attention, and it's just a matter of time before that does. What about you? Drop it down below. What are your retirement spots if you had to do it on a budget? Now, maybe you want to go right to the Punta Cana or Santo Domingo. God bless you. Casa de Campo. There's amazing places if you've got the budget for it. Absolutely. That would be more my instinct. I like my modern amenities, we'll say. But what spots might you look at for inexpensive, but still great spots where you don't have to have bars on the window or anything like that? Safe, affordable, with upward mobility and movement, things that are going to happen in that area. Drop them down below. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video.